Welcome to the Handful of Leaves podcast. Hi, Yong Hong.
Hello.
Welcome. So today we have an interview with the CEO of Singapore's largest meat-free chain, Greendot. And I'm very, very happy to speak to him today because I would love to know about his reflections on his entrepreneurship journey, his reflections on his growth in Buddhism. And recently, Yong Hong became a father of a beautiful 4-month-old baby girl. So we will also be speaking to learn about his insights and what parenthood has taught him. So Yong Hong, to get things started, for those who do not know you or who have not heard of Greendot before, can you share more about your entrepreneurial journey with Greendot?
Sure. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for this opportunity to be here and sharing my experiences with the audience. So I started Greendot about 12 years ago when I was in NUS, National University of Singapore. During year 2 of my studies, I was studying business back then. It was one of the toughest period of my life. I remember I have to pack my modules into 2 days, and the rest of the days I have to work at the outlet.
Wow.
So yeah. So how Greendot started was because I didn't think so much. If I think so much about how tough entrepreneurship is, then probably I wouldn't have started Greendot, especially in food and beverage. Yeah, so I started Greendot because my business partner, Justin, he's a vegetarian since baby. Back then, I was at Chongqing High School. I know him since Sec 1. And back then, it was not easy being a vegetarian in school because you have no vegetarian store. So he has to cook his own food, or he has to ask the auntie, uncles in the canteen store to cook special meals for him. Yeah. He felt that being a vegetarian is a lifestyle choice or a personal choice. Why do we have to have so much inconvenience? He thought that having a vegetarian store, having quality food in school, maybe will help to make the younger generations who are vegetarian like us feel proud being a vegetarian because there's an option. So that was how it started. We didn't think so much. And then we started our first store at Temasek Poly.
What about Justin that make you want to go into a partnership with him?
They call it fate. We got along well. I think it's a very interesting thing. I'm a CEO of Greendot, one of the largest chain of vegetarian restaurant in Singapore, but I wasn't born a vegetarian. So when I was younger, I'm a meat lover. No meat, no happy. I eat the McDonald's burger. I must remove the
Take away the veggies, yeah.
anti-veg. So I don't like vegetables at all, even till I founded Greendot.
Yeah, it's like me. I hate vegetables last time, and I'm actually a vegetarian now.
That's why I think sometimes you just fate that you walk this path. Like what Steve Jobs always say, you only can connect the dots when you look back. I just have a voice within me to try.
Wow, that's very courageous, and also I would say a bit impulsive, not thinking too much and just jumping into trying this thing out, which then eventually turned into something bigger than you ever imagined 12 years later.
Of course, I always wanted Greendot to do well because to me, Greendot is not just a vegetarian chain, because you look at your grandparents, your uncle, your aunties around you as they age, you see that their diet actually changes. Less meat and more balanced meal, more vegetables. So I feel that this change of diet will come, but you want it to come later in your life or earlier in your life. I have friends around me who are late 30s, but they have gout because of seafood, beer, alcohol. So the diet is impacting their lives. Because of Greendot, I was exposed to plant-based. I realized that actually brown rice can be very nice, veggie can be very nice. This journey of Greendot also changed my diet and impacted me to change earlier in my life. I hope that Greendot can not only be a place where we serve quality plant-based meal, but also be a channel where we can help more people start their more balanced meal diet earlier in their life. It's not to fully convert you first, but at least 21 meals a week. Maybe you can try with 3 meals a week. Change can start earlier.
That's so beautiful how an entrepreneurship that was just part of your hustle became something that actually changed your perception about diet, about lifestyle, about keeping healthy. I'm curious if there were any other changes that you experienced when working and growing with Greendot, for example, in spirituality?
Yeah, actually, it's been 12 years. There are a lot of things that I've been through, all the highs and lows. Looking back, I feel that this journey has really changed me. I've been through 3 stages of Greendot. It wasn't all happy and smooth sailing. It was really very tough. During my first few years of Greendot, every day I wake up, I go and cook at a store. I feel like giving up. Every night I tell myself, I think this is the last day. But tell Justin, I think you continue. So that first 3 to 4 years of my initial startup phase, I treat Greendot as work. I find no meaning because I have no F&B experience before this. I don't like F&B. I never stepped in the kitchen before. So even before I start Greendot, I don't know how to cut broccoli or cook rice. Remember first day, the uncle said, "Hong, you go and cook some rice." He said, "How to cook the rice? How to measure the water?" And that's where I know, oh, you must put the hand in the water. So that was how raw. That first 3 to 4 years was work to me.
Even the way you describe it sounds like a chore already.
I hated to go, but because I chose this path, so ego kept me going. Then second phase, because after I started Greendot, then I grew to a few outlets. Then NUS also gave me a fund because they also acknowledged me as young entrepreneur. Finally, some acknowledgement. So from then on, it became a career for me because I was being packaged as a young entrepreneur from NUS. I was driven by results. I wanted to grow Greendot and to do well and to show that I'm a successful young entrepreneur. So I was driven by that. That's where I also faced a lot of problem. Although my business grew to many outlets, but they wasn't making money. There were a lot of people's problem because I'm raw in management. Then I wasn't happy. I broke up with my other half. My health was in bad shape because I was working every day. I wasn't happy and my life is all about work. And I wasn't earning a lot of money because it's in a growth period. So the only thing driving me is because I'm a young entrepreneur, career stage, where I just work every day. So I achieved some success on surface, but I wasn't happy. So that was where about 5 years ago, I started to find answers to change this. One morning was YouTubing. Then I saw 清空法师. At the moment, I felt that there actually another way of looking at life. That was where I start to have more balance in my life. I got a personal trainer. I started to go for music. Then I realized that although I don't work as long, I have a bit of balance, but my business got better. And at that moment, I start to really go deeper into understanding what is vegetarian about. Then that's where it became a mission for me. And that's where Greendot start to get better and better. 3 phases from work to a career to seeing as a mission. People say the aha moment, but sometimes it's just an accumulation of a few things. Change isn't one moment. People sometimes oversimplify change. Change is like 1%, 1% every day. Not everybody can, then this moment. So I think it's being oversimplified. I always tell people learning is not always about learning new things. Actually, the biggest and most important learning is learning about the toxic in yourself. Life is about removing all this toxic from you. Like, for example, when we are baby, we are very pure. As we grow up, we start to have disappointment, frustration, anger, jealousy. So all these are within us. So as we grow up and we start to understand this, our journey starts to take out all these toxic one by one. Jealousy, maybe you got level 10, but today you can take out 1 level, so you're left 9. So you keep taking them out. So I feel that change is not the moment, but it's just that, you realize and you do it day by day. It's not that today you reach, just start you on the journey. Every day you remove something.
Incrementally build up that sense of self-awareness. And with that self-awareness, then you put in the patience, the effort to remove it, as you say, take out the toxins and then become purer and purer in heart and body. Because you mentioned jealousy as well, I think jealousy is something that is so deep-rooted in all of us. It's almost deep-rooted in our conditioning from young when we are in school. Jealousy is almost the thing that drives us to excel because you see that someone else is doing better, someone else scoring more president or CCA, then you push yourself to do. But what that accumulates is all of us become young adults that are so insecure, they are so fearful and lack courage to try something new. So it is very, very toxic in a way.
Yes.
Yeah. So back to your 3 phases that you shared. In the mission phase, it sounds that everything in your life started to become better. You were finding balance, you're becoming happier. And ironically, because you found that happiness, that drive, that energy, your Greendot started to see more success as well, right?
Yeah, it's all about the mindset. Looking back, I know why I wasn't so happy when I was starting a business. Because of one mindset, I always tell myself, 创业要很辛苦. It means entrepreneurship must be tough. That's why my
Oh.
is already tuned to make my life very tough every day. I realized that if I don't feel that my life is in a mess or very miserable, I don't feel that I'm going through entrepreneurship.
Right.
That's where I realized that all the actions I do, I subconsciously
Yeah.
make my life miserable.
Because you
Then
need to be hustling and you need to feel awful.
second mindset, they always say 赚钱很难, earn money very
Oh.
tough. That's why I always do very tough ways to earn money. My life very tough to earn money. I mean, of course, money is not everything, but money is important. But I realized that money is a byproduct of the excellence in the things you do. If you are not earning money, it means you're not so good in the things that you're doing yet. Money is not attracted to you yet. That's where I realized that a lot of mindsets make me very, very miserable in the earliest life. And I think that Buddhism always talk about life, there's a lot of sufferings, but there are actually causes. Buddhism helped me understand what are the causes of my suffering. I start to go deeper into facing all the internal reasons that lead to my unhappiness. And then that sparked the change in me.
Yes, and in the Four Noble Truths, the reason why we are facing so much suffering, so much disappointment is always because we are clinging to something that we want, refusing to accept the way things are. And I think the most beautiful thing about Buddhism is not that it tells you that there is suffering, but it actually tells you there is a way out of suffering. And that gives us so much hope to put in the effort to free ourselves from this misery.
Yes.
Can you share maybe one of the biggest challenge that you faced in the mission phase of your career and your life? And if relevant, how did Buddhism specifically help you overcome it?
The biggest challenge was me deciding to become a vegetarian. Honestly, because my whole family is not vegetarian. It's not difficult for me to be a vegetarian because of my work. My chef always R&D new dishes for me to try. But one of the challenges was my parents. So I remember one weekend I told my mom, I want to become a full vegetarian because of something that I really believe in. Yeah, so my mom said, as usual, they say, why you don't eat well, not enough nutrients. I said, but you let me try, mom, to decide what I want. I also respect my decision. Okay, and then she said, okay. Then the next weekend, because it used to be a habit, every Sunday, they will buy nasi lemak or roti prata for me. Sunday, I woke up, I opened up the breakfast, then it was a nasi lemak.
Oh no, cannot eat.
Yeah, how should I eat? Should I not eat? To me, it was not a point where I become vegetarian. I tell myself, family, mother's belief and respect is still very important. I ask myself, as a wise person or wise monk in my situation, what will you do? The key is not to be angry with my mom, friends, for not understanding, but the key is becoming a better person after becoming a vegetarian. That I must prove to my mom that after I become a vegetarian, I'm still a good child that she loved, and I want to become a better person. Of course, she started to accept my decision, but initial stage, right?
Yeah.
Very embarrassed to share with my relative that I'm a vegetarian. 2-3 years later, they start to prepare vegetarian options for me. I realized that finally,
getting more acceptance.
So this journey is like that. Buddhism has helped me in practical aspects, facing challenges like that, and not be angry or be embarrassed or doubt my own decisions. It's all about changing your mindset, and it's all about changing yourself. The change can always start from yourself.
I think it's very, very wise of you, because what you're doing is that you're not attaching solely to your view that I am vegetarian now, I must only eat veggie, everyone must approve. But rather it's being respectful and considerate about other people. Yes, and make sure that it's convenient to them. It doesn't make them feel slighted that you don't eat their food. So it's very wise of you. Yeah.
It was not easy, but that's why I say sometimes change is not immediate. Some things can be immediate. Sometimes you know that things take time and patience. Talking about patience, looking back on my entrepreneurship journey, I was from NUS Business School. In school, I have many driven classmates, very intelligent classmate, very resourceful classmate. After 10 years, why am I here and having a little bit of result? I realized the key difference is patience. We want to believe that if we put in effort today, we want to get results tomorrow. But you realize that all these things takes time. And I think the biggest quality that young people need to have is patience. Patience to put in the hard work and live in the moment. When you are working, you enjoy your work. When you are at home watching TV, you enjoy the TV. When you are in the podcast, you enjoy the podcast. You know that the result will come, but it's not immediate.
But I guess a lot of people do not have patience or lose patience because they do not have faith that the result will come. Any advice that you may have for that?
In this world, we need to be more optimistic. As a CEO, people always ask, what's your 5-year plan, 3-year plan, 10-year plan? Honestly, it's very hard to plan very long term in a context where the world changes very fast. Aim to become a better person every day and becoming better in what you do. I think that's the key lah. And most important is being present. I also don't have a way to tell you to believe that the goal will happen. And I think enjoying the moment is more important.
Enjoying the process, it's the outcome, not the final destination that is the
Yeah.
outcome. Because I think when you adopt that kind of approach as well to life, then you allow yourself to open up to the possibility that life could give you. Maybe it's not what exactly you plan for, but it could be something even more beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, because the goal is what we believe is beautiful. But maybe when you reach there, you realize that not necessarily as beautiful as you think it is. But it's the moment that we open our mind up to awareness, up to what's happening around us and grab the opportunities. Maybe that will be the best journey for us. The goal is what we think is the best for us, but it might not be. When you move forward, then you open up, then you realize the opportunities change.
Wonderful. Yeah. So stepping a little bit back from the business perspective, the CEO perspective, you have recently become a parent of a beautiful girl, and congrats on that.
Thank you.
I also wanted to ask you on a more personal level. So how has becoming a parent changed your perspective on mission, meaning, and priorities in life?
It's a huge change for me and a very meaningful experience for me, because becoming a father, when you look at your child, it makes you feel that whenever you have any problems in your life and work problems, you look at her and all problems will fade away. So sometimes it makes you realize what's important in life also. After I have my baby, of course, the aspect of my life has slowed down. Last time I used to go for yoga 6 times a week. Now 1 time a week is really a bonus to me. My life is all about work and going home to accompany her. So I realized that it's about finding a balance. Life cannot be in full throttle in all aspects. So you need to know that sometimes this thing is faster, sometimes this thing is slower, and there's nothing wrong. Sometimes people get frustrated, because of my child, I have to give up so much. But you have to understand that this is part and parcel of life. And instead of thinking that you have to give up, why don't you think that this is a happy time of you being with your children? And I'm thankful that she's a happy baby and a healthy baby.
That's wonderful. And even just seeing you speaking about her, I can already see the joy in your eyes, that smile that you have when you're speaking. It's so wonderful. And I wonder, what's your aspirations for her when she grows up?
To become a person of a good character. Confucius teaching about 4 modules. The first module they learn is always the values. What is the right value? What's the right principles? Then second, they learn the way you speak, the way you act. The third, they learn about culture and your history. And last, they learn more about becoming your profession. During my time, we are more focused on, you study science to become a doctor, or you study whatever degree to become a profession. In Singapore, what I feel can be even better is values teaching. So most important thing we can do for our children is to let them have the right values. What I can do is to focus on myself, become a person of good values, so that she will also be inspired to become a good person in the future.
In a way, walking the talk, being the role model for her. She learns from seeing, from admiring how you behave, how you treat others, your wife and the employees that you have as well. So you were saying just now that all aspects of your life cannot be in full throttle all at the same time. You only go crazy like that. So at this point, it seems like family is taking the forefront. Then how are you balancing, or how are you managing the stakeholders at work or other aspects of that? Do you tell them like, okay, guys, I'm clocking out at 5?
So I always believe in knowing your priorities. I believe there are 4 pillars of life. The first pillar of life, 身心健康, inner and physical health. So that's number 1. Second thing, I call it family happiness lah. And third thing, I call it 助人之富, earning money through helping people. Lastly, I call it 广结善缘, making meaningful interaction with people and helping others, giving back. These 4 pillars, I think maybe a lot of people understand, but the key is there's a priority. You must build upon this in the right order. When you're very young, some people say, oh, I need a lot of networking. Then you spend a lot of time networking. All this networking pointless if you don't have the first three. See, let's say you don't have a career yet. You go and network. But you network, you are asking people for help. You have the experience and even the resources to help people. Or let's say you have a very good career, but you don't have a family to fall back on, or you don't have health to fall back on. That's where you become empty. Career will always be very, very tough. Why? Because you take a salary. So you must exchange it with your hard work. So if you ever find a work that don't need hard work and give you salary, you must tell me. Let's go to there will always be hard work. It means there will always be disappointment and frustration. It's okay, because when you have frustration, then you go home. If you wife or husband or mother, you tell your mother, Mommy, wow, today my work very tough, my boss scold me. Never mind, okay, good girl. I'll try again. That's where you have a good night's sleep and you go out and try. Then let's say you have a hobby, then you fall back the hobby. See, your work is very tough. You fall back, you go up again, fall back and go up again. It's this constant way of falling back and going back again makes you rise up in your career. Because the two foundations stop you from falling all the way down. Keep you there and keep you going up.
It's almost like a bouncing net of resilience. It keeps you bouncing and you bounce higher after that.
That's why I feel it's very important to build the pillars of your life. That's how I make my decisions in life. It's about priorities. For me, I exercise maybe 2-3 times a week, but that's the most important for me. I will allocate time to do that, but work still take up majority of my time and family. It just means the priority. Set time for that. You tell your wife, hey, I need to go for this 1-hour training. Can you please step in for me? My wife will say, okay, please. We all agree. We know that health is very important.
And when you communicate these priorities as well, then it becomes the non-negotiable for you, and you're able to take care of yourself and take care of others. Because when you take care of yourself, you show up better as well to other people, treat them nicer. Don't get angry so fast.
That's how we balance, and my wife also agree. And we encourage each other. We cover for each other when we go for our hobbies, our exercise, and things that we need to do to serve the family and our work better.
And for the 身心健康, I think taking care of the physical and the internal mental hygiene, I think Buddhism has a lot to contribute there. Some useful exercises that people can do also is to do a short meditation daily practice, or end of day journaling, or even starting your day with gratitude, contentment. Just wake up and finding 2 to 3 things that you're thankful for to be alive in this moment. And that can definitely help keep a very, very healthy mood and well-being. Any other tips, Yong Hong?
I think reading. Reading has been a huge part of my life. If you don't like reading, you can do audiobooks. I spend a lot of time on the road. I spend a lot of resources on reading and learning. I think it's very important. So many things happening in the world, and we tend to be FOMO, fear of missing out. But Buddhism has taught me that actually the key is not to be so worried about things that keep happening, but rather learn a lot more about the right values, the right principles. This will guide you to make decisions even without knowing what's happening all around the world. We need to be updated with the news, but don't feel like you miss out a lot or you feel very nervous because you don't know a lot of things happening. It's more of understanding the values and the principles that help you make better decisions. And of course, I feel that learning is also learning about yourself, and grow a lot more by learning about the bad things about yourself. Looking at cycles in your life. Like, for example, you used to argue with a friend in this company. And you say, my friend very bad, always badmouth me. Then you change another company, but things still happen. Then you say, this company not good, the culture not good, the boss not good. Then you change. Then after you change again, you argue again. The cleaner auntie not good, that's why I argue. So you must realize that the problem is who? It's
you. You are the only constant in those environments.
Looking at the bad cycles in our life and jumping out bad cycles, that's how you always prove in different aspects of life. Just reflect. It's one of very useful way in improving your lives.
Yeah. And that really reminds me of a quote. The problem never goes away until you learn from it. Then that's how you solve it and resolve it, and then it will go away on its own. I think we've had a really long, wonderful conversation talking about your entrepreneurial journey, talking about your learnings and growth from the Buddhism aspect. I see that it's really peppered in your life principles, in even some of the decisions that you make as well, touching a little bit about how having a daughter really brings to the forefront of what is important, while at the same time balancing the other pillars of your life. So if you were to end on one piece of advice to young adults out there who are trying to find purpose, what is that one piece of advice that you share with them?
Of course, first thing is, what is your definition of success? There's no right and wrong. I think this success changes according to age and what you've been through. So you define what is success to you at this moment of time and the next 3 to 5 years. Or even you say, at this moment, I want to have a lot of money. Okay, it can also be, but just be happy doing it. When you face challenges in trying to go for your goal, just accept it, because it's what you define as success. And second thing, after you define, it's good to focus on who you are becoming rather than what you're accumulating. Because what you're is attracted to you. It's not you chase them. So focus on who you are becoming. If you become a person of good values, good quality, good leadership, or you have good skills, good things follow you, good people will follow you.
Thanks for sharing, and thanks for your time through this entire podcast. Thanks, everybody. And I hope you continue to stay happy and wise. If you like this episode, please give us a 5-star review on Spotify. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.